This program, I would love to see it at every school across Canada, like as part of the curriculum, because it teaches students how to be engaged citizens. It's that when you're faced with a problem, how do you tackle it? You can take a kit that we know works, like school travel planning, and you can work through it to find a solution. Collect the data, make sure there's evidence behind what you're saying, come up with solutions, identify the issues, come up with solutions, and act on those. EverActive Schools employs the school travel planning process when it's implementing active school travel projects across the province. The school travel planning process was developed by Green Communities Canada in the mid-1990s and has been tried and tested in schools across Canada, across the world, really. What the school travel planning process entails is that we walk school communities through the process. And that includes baseline data collection, a family travel survey, a student travel survey, a walkabout of the school site and school neighborhood, traffic counts, traffic observations. We move into issue identification and action planning. So in the issue identification stage, this is where we're looking at the key issues facing that school, like what are the transportation issues that are impacting how families choose the mode of transportation that they choose. Once we've identified those key issues, we move into the action planning phase. And this is where we start looking at solutions to those key issues. In the city of Leduc, EverActive Schools is part of a committee called the Healthy Hearts Committee. So this is a wellness committee that's comprised of many health leaders in the city of Leduc and surrounding area. And one of the priorities that the Healthy Hearts Committee set in 2020, they really wanted to focus on active school travel. One school that was identified as a school that might be a good candidate for active school travel or school travel planning was West Haven School.
At West Haven School, we believe in the holistic well-being of all of our students, and this includes their physical and mental well-being. Through initiatives by Mr. Henderson, our student leadership team, and EverActive Schools, our students are encouraged to cultivate habits that lead to lifelong learning and well-being.
West Haven School is part of the Black Gold School Division, and one wonderful thing that Black Gold School Division has prioritized is wellness. So they actually have wellness leads at each of their school sites. And these wellness leads are called WIS, or Wellness Instructional Support Team. So we, of course, Trevor Henderson, being the WIST, or the Wellness Instructional Support member at West Haven, we were connected with him directly.
My name is Trevor Henderson. I'm a grade 6 teacher as well as a wellness instructional support teacher here at West Haven Public School in Leduc. My role within the active travel project was the lead teacher contact here at the school.
I'm going to teach you guys how to do some hand signals, right? So that you can ride safely in traffic, right? Because you might not always necessarily be on the sidewalk.
When you look at school travel planning, for us it meant actually evaluating what our students needed in order to get to school safely. So for us, we were looking at our school goals in terms of mental health, physical health, and then surveying our school body, be it parents, community members, other students within the school, finding out what exactly they needed in order for them to want to travel to school actively, by bike, scooters, walking, whatever it might be. So we were looking at things like traffic patterns, things like available crosswalk equipment, signage, any number of factors.
You can't be looking at the color as you're going by. You can't turn around until they tell you to look, and then you're going to shoulder check, and the person who's directly in front of you is going to hold up a color. And you got to yell out, "It's yellow!" And then you're going to keep on going. Cool?
We contacted West Haven School to see if they wanted to be part of an active school travel project that was funded by the Healthy Hearts Committee.
I've had a long relationship with Ever Active Schools. I've participated in a number of their projects in the past, be it physical literacy, some of their Healthy Hearts programs. I had a connection with some of the other staff there, and when they came to me and asked me if I wanted to participate, I was like, absolutely. Knowing what the school's goals were in terms of physical activity, this just tied in perfectly.
West Haven School, they were experiencing some of the, the same challenges that we've seen across Alberta at school sites, as, particularly at drop-off and pickup time, with like a lot of traffic congestion.
We wanted to cut down on the amount of traffic we had in the morning in terms of traffic congestion. Just getting more people physically active would help eliminate that right off the bat.
We had 3 goals moving into that project. One was to increase opportunities for safe, active travel for students and families of West Haven School. 2 was to increase sustainable transportation modes, because just when you do the math, the more families we have using the school bus service, using the municipal transit service, or even carpooling, it means those cars that used to be at the school site are now removed from the school site. So it helps to reduce congestion. And that's the 3rd goal of school travel planning, by kind of clearing up that school site and reducing congestion, so that, it's just not traffic chaos when you get to school and when you leave school for the day. It becomes much more manageable. Where Trevor fits in, so he attended one community consultation, but we also held a community consultation with his students, because we wanted to hear from youth what they'd like to see in an active transportation charter. And Trevor is so great. He's not just a wonderful wellness lead, but he's such a great teacher as well, because those students took the lead. You could tell that they were empowered to really think about active transportation, and all of the benefits of it, all of the challenges of active transportation, what they thought would work best, like how to engage more and more people in active transportation, and what they needed as youth in order to increase rates of active transportation, of safe active travel.
In terms of student involvement in the project, I also had our school's student leadership team, and they helped in terms of a lot of the surveys, a lot of the questioning of other students. They helped with traffic observations. They helped with calculating data, pedestrian numbers. They also helped during a community walk around. So they were actually highlighting areas where they would be walking, where they would think that they needed more signage, or where they thought the crosswalks maybe weren't positioned correctly. They were really helpful in terms of just adding an extra voice to the project.
We started by joining this little group, which helped promote certain things, like we talked to more people and students, we counted pedestrians, and we just kind of helped out the school with getting more bike racks and scooter racks, just so more people could not only ride their scooters and bikes, but also help encourage that. Kind of just started talking about it, being oh yeah, what do we need to help our school with it? And then we just kind of went on and talked more about it. Yeah.
Although West Haven was a fairly new school at the time when we started working with them, they lacked scooter racks. They had some, but they needed more. So Trevor applied for funding from Communities Choose Well for a micro grant for $5,000 in order to purchase another scooter rack for the school, and to and as well as helmets and bike locks and bike lights and so forth that were going to enrich the Wheel Week experience that was happening in June of 2021 for their school community.
It used to be a bit hard because there were some bike racks, but that's it. There was no other racks for anything else. But after that, it was always so cramped, and you could never put your stuff where you needed to put it, and you also couldn't really find it because sometimes it would get lost in between everything because lots of people rode bikes and scooters.
So I have a friend and he had a scooter, right? But there wasn't too many racks, so he couldn't really fit. So you would have to take it into the classroom, which was a big, not advantage. It was pretty bad. So
when me and my friends, we used to ride our scooter and bikes here, and the bike racks, I think there was only 2, and it's so hard to find a bike rack, and since we added more bike racks, it's easier to find a spot to put your bike and get it out.
Ever Active Schools has really helped us in our physical environment for our students. So before we got, for example, our vertical scooter racks, we've had scooters strewn throughout the school as kids are dropping them off. Trying to come up with solutions around the building was tricky, but once we got these, there was just this level of pride from our students where you could tell they knew that their belongings were safe. But not only that, we saw a huge increase in students cycling and scootering to school with an excitement when they dropped them off. The environment outside of our building has been amazing. We have so many more different areas where students can drop off their belongings out behind the school, on the west side of the school, and on the tarmac. And it's just so awesome to see students wheeling around and getting physically active around our building. And we've seen just a huge increase of that over the past couple of years.
More kids started to ride their scooters to school because this year we added scooter racks. And without scooter racks, all the scooters would be piled up and it'd be super hard to get your scooter out. Now they added scooter racks and it's really easy to get your scooter out.
It's been a bit easier to not only get and take your bikes or scooters from wherever you have put it, like which bike rack or scooter rack, and it's been easier to just get bikes away because you can also tell which one is yours and everybody will have them in different places.
We have more places to park our bikes and scooters, then you don't have to jump and maybe trip and fall and break something trying to pick up your bike or scooter because there's a lot of bikes. There's a scooter rack behind the sheds, and there's a bike rack in front of the school.
Probably watching more kids come to school with their bikes and scooters and walking them on the school grounds and putting them where they belong, on a scooter rack or a bike rack instead of leaving them on the ground.
With the inclusion of our scooter racks, especially as well as our bike racks, we've seen not only a physical change here at school and not only a change with our students, but with our parent community as well. A piece of feedback I'm receiving is that some of our students here at the school are a little bit more responsible for their belongings as now they're realizing, hey, I can lock this up and keep my belongings safe. And I think that's kind of spreading out as a lesson throughout the building as well as our community as well.
One of the best things about school travel planning or active school travel is that students learn how to solve big problems. This is a big problem. Transportation, like traffic issues in front of school sites at drop-off and pickup time, it's a big problem. A lot of schools don't even like to tackle it because it's about confrontation. But when you invite students to start looking at the problem and seeking out solutions, they bring such a flavor to it that it de-escalates things.
We've gone from a lot of the initial groundwork, making sure that we have the supports in place, to now we're really just promotion and trying to continue to grow, our participation numbers. We've seen a massive growth over the years in terms of participation, just by count. If you just were to do a physical count of the number of bikes and the number of scooters that you see in the mornings, you would be looking at a 20 to 30% increase for sure. Weather gets nice, the bikes definitely come out. There's not nearly as many empty spots, as it were.
This program is I would love to see it at every school across Canada, as part of the curriculum, because it teaches students how to be engaged citizens. It's that when you're faced with a problem, how do you tackle it? One, you can get on social media and complain about it all you want. It's not going to do anything. Or You can take a kit that we know works, like school travel planning, or which is, of course, a comprehensive school health is embedded within that toolkit. And you can work through it to find a solution, collect the data, make sure there's evidence behind what you're saying, come up with solutions, identify the issues, come up with solutions, and act on those.
In looking at the other people who were involved in the project, the city of Leduc was big in terms of just the infrastructure support. So we would highlight the need for a crosswalk repainting or new crosswalk signage. They were really good in terms of coming back to us. We also were lucky to have Carrie Nelson working with us. She was big in terms of being a liaison between our school and the city in terms of context for infrastructure and that type of support. The Choose Well community grant people were fantastic, as was Capital Airshed. Through them, we were able to, they equipped us with a purple air monitor. Never heard of them before, but they were fantastic in terms of just monitoring the air quality around the school. Was extremely helpful when we had the Fort McMurray wildfires, and that we were able to assess the air quality and determine whether or not we had kids or was safe for kids to go outside for recess. We also had, obviously, Ever Active Schools was huge in terms of supporting us with materials, promotional materials, guiding us in terms of what it was we needed to do in terms of communication with our student body, with our parents. It was definitely a joint effort.